Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Service MVP podcast. My name is Joe Crisara, America's service coach. And today we have a special guest, a friend of mine. Her name is Nicole Snyder, and she is with Do It Right Plumbers. Nicole, say hi to everybody. How you doing?
Hi, thank you so much, Joe, for this opportunity to be able to come in and talk about our business and how Service MVP has done so many positive things for it as well.
Well, thank you so much for saying that, Nicole. Definitely, my heart has been warmed ever since we met you guys a few years back. Definitely, it's been it's a labor of love for me, and also I'm excited to see the growth of the company and the personal growth of the people in it, like you, Nicole.
Thank you, Joe. I really appreciate that. And I really appreciate all the attention to detail that you and your team gives to my team. Anytime we have any issues or we have any questions, you guys are a phone call away and provide so many things on your app as well, which has been really helpful to us.
Well, tell us a little bit about Do It Right Plumbers, if you don't mind. Give us a little
Of
bit about
course.
the background and the go ahead and what's the core philosophy of Do It Right Plumbers? Obviously, the slogan is kind of built right into the name, which is kind of neat.
Yes, it is. Yeah. So it
Tell
kind
us
of
a little bit more.
you
Tell us a little bit
better
more about that. Go ahead.
you better do it right, with a name like that. So, so we were started in 2015. We started as a construction business and remodeling, and our owner kind of was running into a situation where every time a job was done, it was just done, and he really started to look into service and repair and realized that that was the key to the future, and that was something that was going to provide a more consistent revenue basis. So, segued in 2015 into plumbing. With the philosophy of we want to make sure that we have a team that is going to provide excellent service for our customers, that is going to have an image out in the community that we are a family company and that we can take care of our customers. We're based out of Orange, so we're located in Southern California. We're very lucky. We're like a stone's throw from Disneyland. And we have an excellent team around us of successful people. And it's a pleasure to work here. And we just, at the end of the day, we just work really hard and we try to do right by our customers.
I can see that. I see that in the way you guys do training and also the way you guys go about doing your work too. Definitely, that's the work ethic is and getting the detail, the fine attention to detail, which is also important. I think for me, I'm kind of a stickler for quality, as you probably know.
Yes, sir.
Nicole, what are some of the? Let's go over some of the keys that you found to helping to grow. What is Do It Right Plumbers found as some of the key to making sure that you can sustain the growth of the company. You want to cover some of those things? What's the first thing you think would be a key
Certainly.
for you?
100% is our people. So making sure that when we select somebody that they're the ideal team player. Are they hungry? Are they humble? Are they smart? And within that, are they going to be able to take what you have taught them and be adaptable to different situations out in the field? So if they are able to display all of those things to me and they're a great team player, we bring them on. That's a huge part of our success because, let's be honest, our revenue is driven by those individuals. And if we're not having the right individual driving the car, then the car is not going to get to its destination. Other than that, customer service is.
Hold on a second.
Oh,
So,
certainly.
with that being said, I just want to say in Southern California, I think a lot of people who are online can see there's no shortage of brash plumbers who think they
Yeah.
know how to do everything already and
Yes.
come in there. So I'm sure you must get your share of applicants, a range of applicants, people who coming in who are sort of like, hey, we're just trying to figure out how to be a plumber. And then there's other people like, yeah, I've worked at about 18 million plumbing companies. I can tell you guys how to run this business and all that part of it there. Tell me, a lot of people are really hungering for like an experienced employee. Is the philosophy of Do It Right sort of a hybrid between some experience and then people having to have an open mind? Or tell us a little bit about that. How do you deal with somebody who comes in and tries to say, I could tell you how to run this place already, before I even get here? Tell us about that.
Well, I can tell you that person is probably not on our team. And we
That's
don't
good.
necessarily, we don't want people that are going to come to our team that are going to tell us how to do business. We want somebody who's going to come and contribute in a way that is beneficial for the team growth. So, obviously, we are open to suggestions from our technicians because they're on the ground floor. They're the ones that are seeing everything that's out in the field. So we are very open to anything that they want to bring to the table. But it's about the right attitude. And if that technician doesn't have the right attitude, then they're not going to be a great team player. And it makes it just difficult to deal with on a daily basis. And then it's at that point, it's a burden and not an addition to the team.
So there's some things you're willing to train on,
Yeah.
but humbleness and open-mindedness, that's something people got to bring with them. Would you say that's fair?
Yes, 100%. We've had more success with looking at technicians from an attitude perspective than a years of service or skill perspective, because those people are coming in, they're going to be hungry as well. So they bring everything else with them if they're humble.
Yeah, I think I've seen somebody with the core philosophy as they said, safety is first at the very top of it, and then they had, training is going to be another part of it there.
Mhm.
Third is going to be sort of communication skills between everybody, and then the final thing is the workmanship. That's the thing we'll teach. The final thing, because that's something that it could be developed on a week-to-week basis. But I think the most important thing is that for everybody who loses their job because they didn't know their job, there's 8 people who lose their job because they couldn't communicate or be part of the team. Does that make sense,
Correct.
Nicole?
Correct. Yeah. So like bringing on the right person is super important. Number one, paramount portion of my day includes is making sure that I'm continually building my team and developing the team that I have. Because also making sure that continued training going on with your staff is super important. If you're not doing that, then you're not investing in your team.
I think you were just about to enter into the key, I thought, which was
Yes.
customer service. Tell me a little bit
Customer
about that.
service,
Go ahead.
yeah. So
How do you define that?
customer service as like a broad term, it encompasses a lot of different things. But to shorten it up, it would be more of are we showing up and are we exceeding expectations? Are the customers so happy that they want to talk about us in a positive way and use us again? And the workmanship that we put into it is that also exceeding their expectations. If we leave and the customer has all 3 of those things satisfied, then we're looking at having continued sales from that customer, and probably continued sales by word of mouth.
So tell us about some of the things that you have implemented that's unique. If I said, the differentiation of that
Mhm.
customer experience is a key item. So what would people say, they're on your team,
Yeah.
what would the team try to be developing that's unique compared to what other companies or other people would do? What would you say is
Well,
something
not
that you,
I would say some companies do this, but not every company does a thorough full home inspection. Which is included and not something that we're charging for right off the bat. And
Mhm,
that is something that has been very refreshing for our customers.
mhm.
When our technicians arrive, they are professional, they are clean, they respect the customer's home. It's a lot of those things people don't see on a daily basis as well. And
Mhm.
then, of course, providing options to the customer and allowing them to select and not being pushy with those customers and allowing them to choose their own destiny by providing them a range of options.
So you're saying uh, diagnosing the technical issue further than the customer expected, which is exceeding the expectation there. Like, yeah, we're going to take a look at everything while we're here to make sure that the entire system is working good, not just the one problem. Oh, that's so nice. You're going to do that. Yeah, just part of what we do to make sure you're taken care of. And then number 2, leave make sure we're cleaner than you thought we were going to be, and neater,
Yes.
cleaner, and more respectful than we're going to be. And then it sounds like making those choices is another part of it there, giving more options than people expected to get. Does that make sense?
Certainly, yeah, of course. We could go to a water heater call and then leave with a water heater infiltration done because the customer didn't understand how the quality of the water is going to affect everything else in their house, including their new water heater. We want to, make sure the longevity of that is spoken about so that they understand truly how to extend the life of everything that's in their home, not to mention their own lives and their own safety.
How do you get the technicians, like you said, the right people? That's part of it. I guess that's why you get the
Yeah,
right people, right?
yeah, that's why that's the
Because
biggest part, Joe.
yeah, because if you're saying, hey guys, you want to open up the playbook here a little bit and make sure that the client had an option for everything, and not just the fixing the water heater, the faucet, but also make sure the water purification and stuff. So how do you open up sometimes the closed mind, pry open the closed mind of some technicians who feel like, well, I'm just here to get the job done and get out of here, rather than spending some time with the customer, making sure that we get the best solution that's right for them. How do you get that philosophy? Is that something
So I
that
think
the culture helps with, or how? Tell me.
the best way for me is ride-alongs. And spending time with those technicians on an individual basis. Because if you're not willing to do it yourself and come out with them, a lot of times, especially those more experienced technicians, would maybe not be interested in what you're selling, because they think like they know how to do everything and then what their way is the best way. But getting them out there, showing them how to truly care for the customer by doing so. Like, I'm going to spend some time with this customer and we're going to talk about everything under the sun, and I'm going to learn about their aunt. I'm going to learn about their plants, but I'm also going to learn about who they are as a person and what their expectations are and what they need done in their home today, so that I can help them going forward. And without doing a full home inspection, you're never going to get to all those points where you build a true relationship with that customer.
Hmm. Well, obviously, serving the external customer is a focal point of Do It Right Plumbers. Tell us a little bit about the internal things that you do to keep the staff engaged and make them smile too. Because it's like,
Yeah,
I think we have to not only exceed our external customers' expectations, I think it's also important that we exceed the expectations of our internal people too.
certainly.
How do you guys achieve that kind of thing, where that culture kind of grows together, where everybody feels like they're in this together as a team?
Yeah. So the philosophy that we work by every single day is that we can provide a win-win-win culture. So that
Hmm.
means first and foremost that the technician wins, the customer wins, and then of course that Do It Right as a company wins as well. If we can achieve that balance through all our decisions and everything that we do every day, then we're in a great spot. Some of the other things that we do to make sure that our technicians are in a great spot is we have a very aggressive pay plan also that brings the best out of people. So if you are somebody who wants to be successful, then come on down and give us a try, and we go from there.
Hmm.
And if that works out, and if that's something that they're interested in, and they are interested in being a part of our team and being a team player, and they want to be, a part of Do It Right, then that's what we do.
It seems like what I've seen so far from the guys I've trained who have come to our live training, and even you, it seems like the people that Do It Right Plumbers are proud to be part of something bigger than themselves. Does that make sense there?
Yes.
Is that feel that thing?
Yes.
How is that being fostered? How's that philosophy where the culture feels like, that the team is above each individual?
Certainly.
How do we achieve that?
Pride in everyday actions. Being selfless as a leader is something that is big in that regard. When I talk to my technicians, I make sure that they know, like at the end of every conversations, what else can I do for you to make you successful today?
Hmm. So it's
And I mean it.
kind of a service you're providing, as opposed to being sort of a kindergarten teacher or
Yeah, like I'm not going to
somebody who's
chase them
controlling
around with a
people.
stick. Yeah. Yeah, we're not playing that game here.
Huh?
It's what else can I do to help you? I mean, I'll drive a part out to a guy, I'll come out to a job site, talk to a customer, whatever I need to do in order to make sure that that technician knows that I'm willing to sacrifice for you, generally leads to that person wanting to sacrifice for me and for the company as a whole.
It's a law of obligation in place there,
Yes.
right? Where
Yes, sir.
you start by serving somebody else first, and then people naturally feel obligated to return the favor,
Yep.
right?
Yes.
uh,
100%.
what other kind of philosophies or core? I like the win-win-win is a really great one. It reminds me of the Stephen Covey 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. That's sort of
Yes,
like built
100%.
into
We
that sort of thing.
draw a lot of our inspiration from some of Steve's work and Patrick's work, and we look at those core things that they do and say, how can we apply this to making sure that we have the right players on this team? We're a family-owned business, so we want all of our technicians to feel like they're a part of our family. We want all of our customers to feel like they're a part of our family. So that's a big part of what we do too, is we get to know these individuals, not only the customers, but we get to know our technicians and find out what makes them tick. I share some of my own life with them. I'm not afraid of that either. So that when they come to work, they feel like they can speak to me freely. I feel like I can speak to them freely. And it really does foster a culture of where it's not like you don't want to go to work because things are so rigid. There's processes, of course, but there's also respect. And I think
Hmm.
respect and respecting your team is really important.
Tell us, so you're actually one of the, Nicole, what's your position over there exactly?
I'm the service manager.
Okay, so you're in charge of helping to train and onboard and orient the people, and also keeping them guided on the right track, right? It sounds like.
Yep,
So
100%.
so tell us about that. Tell us about the uh, this methodology. I know you were in our class, in our performance
Yeah,
coach class. Uh, Tell us about how you know how much personal growth you've achieved as a result of learning how to guide people on there in a way that is like a service. Because I think training is a service, coaching is a service, and accountability is a service that management provides. Tell us how you've grown personally in the years you've been there at Do It Right
yeah,
Plumbers, and tell us what you look at it when you see a problem. Tell us how you approach that problem, if you don't mind, to help some
certainly.
other managers out there, if you don't mind.
Yeah, so in regards to bringing on a team, so obviously the interview process needs to include some questions that maybe people don't ask every interview. I can give you my favorite question on every interview, so we'll start there. My favorite question is, what has been your best day as a plumber or whatever trade you're in, and what has been your worst day? I find that you're going to find right away if somebody's positive or negative person. So if they respond immediately with my worst day was, and they start there, they're probably a glass is half empty kind of person. If they give me the best day first, then I know already, okay, psychologically, you are somebody who looks for the good versus the bad. So that's an important qualifier. It's something that I use on all of my interviews, no matter which position. So we start there, and then you got the right person. So then we do extensive training. We do ideally a 2-week training course, where the first week is pretty intense to make sure like those guys can hang. And then the second week is in the field type things. You get issued your uniform, you get teamed up with one of our senior technicians, and you get to go out in the field, and then that senior technician will have a list of requirements in which that person needs to fulfill while they are with them. So that way it's not just kind of like thrown to the wolves. And then at the end of it, to have some kind of acknowledgement that that person is now receiving their keys, and that they are graduated in a sense to, and that they are now going to be their own businessmen, basically, and that they have their own truck, because each one of those guys in their own truck is really their own business, but facilitated by Do It Right.
So it's not such like a given. It's something that is like once you pass the testing and graduations of things, then you're awarded as a full blown staff member over here. Does that
Yep,
make
you
sense?
you are now a technician that has the right to have this truck and this equipment. Providing them with the equipment that they would need for whatever skill level that they had, and making sure and following up with that they know how to use it. So those are some of the ways to get started. Once you've got your guys in the field, and let's say you have a situation to where you run into a bump in the road, and which will happen, as we all know, as service managers out there, I'm sure you're like, yes, what then? So what I do is something that I learned actually in the management course for total immersion and leadership course. Was I utilize the gap training, and short version of that is basically there is someone who has been identified to have a problem, whether that be they're tardy, probably the easiest one to take a look at, and then to schedule the very next day that that person is now on the log, that they are coming in, and it's on the dashboard that they're to come in for a gap meeting with me. Then I run through the whole thing with the gap flow chart. And if they are not admitting to their issue and then accepting the assignment within it, then at that point, sometimes you have to take a furlough, which I have had to do one so far, Joe. No more
Oh
than
my
one, but I've
goodness,
had
a
to do one
furlough.
furlough. Yeah.
Was it 5 minutes or longer?
Yeah, it was longer.
A longer
Yeah.
furlough. Hey, take a couple days and think about whether
Yeah.
Do It Right is for you here,
Yeah,
right?
exactly. So, but fortunately, at this point, that technician is still on the right track. So that's great.
That's
Uh,
great. Well, I think sometimes I think the thing you said about being an optimist, to imagine that
yeah,
people will get the message and come out the right end. That's important, because I think a lot of people operate in a fear, a dark place, that if I try to correct people on something as simple as being late, they're just going to think I'm full of it in a way, and
mhm.
not respond to that. But I think if you take a little extra time and you've addressed it in the way you did, of course, that's not the employee you're talking about, but whatever the gap or the furlough is provided, the furlough means a little time out to think about what if you're committed to what we're trying to do here, right? And I think we can imagine I think if you said, if you can imagine a negative outcome, you probably never had that talk, right? How
Yeah,
important is it that the leader is an optimist?
yeah, 100%. And like each one of my guys, whether I'm having a gap meeting with them or not, knows that I personally do care about them and their success. So coming into that meeting, because I'm a servant leader. So if you back up being a servant leader, as long with also providing gap training so that you are just immediately addressing these issues. Because if you let them go on, you know what's going to happen. Next Wednesday, they're going to be late too. And then you're just going to be frustrated. The customers are going to be upset because they're late. You know, there's a chain reaction that happens when these gaps appear if you do not address them. So, and then it becomes a pattern, and then you're just mad at yourself. Nobody's
Wow,
happy at that point, you know?
exactly,
Yeah.
exactly.
So, but it's worked really well, and keeping that log. And then I've also now started to keep a digital log as well within the system that we use for our human resources, or the Bamboo HR, as a notes tab. So now every time I have one of these gap meetings, I not only have to depend on this physical paper that I have my gap meeting on, but there's now a digital record of this conversation. So anytime that
Mm.
employee can go in there and see like that they've had these gap conversations.
Wow,
Yeah.
that is really cool. So you're really taking it to the next level, taking the instruction we had and kind of took some ownership and made it your own. I love that.
Yeah, you know, like if I can take something further, I'm going to, Joe, you know, let's let's squeeze more out of
That's it.
this.
That's what it's here for. It's here to
Yeah.
just as a platform, and you're launching off that platform. Well, Nicole, I can tell you one thing. There's nobody I've ever met quite like you before, so definitely you're unique. Where do they find people like you? How do they find you as the right person? Did
So
just
I
hanging out in
actually
Southern
found
Cal,
Do
or
It
how'd
Right.
that work out?
I found Do It Right. I came actually from Home Depot. I was a manager at Home Depot, and I said, you know what? I'm looking for something that's a little bit better as far as my time with my family, and you know, I've got all these management skills, and I'm able to help people, and I love helping people. So let me send my net out there and see what I've got. And I was very lucky to come across the amazing company Do It Right, and fantastic owners here. I couldn't be happier. It's brought me so much joy. And I've learned so much too through it too, which is something that satisfies my thirst for knowledge as well.
Well, definitely the spirit of service, the joy you have in your job and your work, and just trying to help other people definitely radiates through that smile, that amazing smile you've got there,
Oh,
Nicole.
thank you, Joe.
Definitely,
You're too kind.
definitely. You can't say Nicole without smiling. You know that, right?
Appreciate
I'm just teasing. But anyway, Nicole, thank you for being here on the show. Any final thoughts before we wrap it up?
No, just thank you so much for the opportunity, and really appreciate everything that you've been able to teach me and my team. Truly helps us in our day-to-day encounters with customers.
Nicole, thank you so much. We'll see you around in the future.
You got it, sir. Thanks.